Hello, everyone. What a crazy day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Oh my goodness. From Penske Racing not being able to even qualify today to a rookie not only making history, but he's also one of the pole sitters for the Indianapolis 500-mile race and many more, from today being Bump Day, Sunday, May 18th, 2025. And oh my goodness, we have a good show for you today. And of course, this show will also have some guests pretty soon. We will have Luke Leahy talk to us on Tuesday, so make sure to actually tune in for that podcast. It will be on not just this one, but it will also be on the WBRA podcast. And WBRA, or also known as Keeping Things in the Middle, is the other podcast this will be on. So that's going to be an exciting episode talking about Indianapolis business and that sort of stuff. But oh my gosh, what a crazy day today. And we'll have more on that after this intro.
I dream about the blue light on the wall, how I long for my Indiana home.
Famous words in motorsports.
Driver, start your engine.
Right on the tail of Marco Andretti. Can a teenager win in Indianapolis? Here's the finish. Sam Horton Jr. makes the pass. He'll win it. Sam Horton Jr.
It's not a tour de force. It's a tour de pin.
It is. Danny Sullivan gets him. Danny Sullivan gets him. No, he's twirling. No, he's spinning. Danny Sullivan spins, but he goes around twice and gathers it in.
Absolutely incredible. Danny Sullivan headed for victory lane in Indianapolis.
Clark twin checkered flag in the air. It's a battle at the start-finish line, and Joseph Newgarden will win the Indianapolis 500-mile race. Davey Hamilton, he finally gets the buggy off him, but the pass makes it stick. Joseph Newgarden goes back-to-back, wins the 108th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to what is the Indianapolis 500 podcast, the Borg Warner production. I am your host, Braden Bear-Lents, and we welcome you to another episode, as today was Bump Day, a chaotic day in the day of any day that features the Indianapolis 500-mile race. And boy, oh boy, if you hear in the background, there's a lot of booing going on because Juan Soto's up to the plate for the New York Mets. And it's going to be a chaotic week. And we just had a crap just like today was. We had a wreck today. We had Penske not qualify. We had Jacob Abel, a rookie, get dumped out in the last minute of practice or of qualifying. And he will not be racing in this year's 2025 Indy 500. But Venus VK will be able to. It was not a good run. It was pretty devastating, to say the least. It was not the best bump day I've ever seen. The best one ever has to be 2022. And with so much excitement in the air, and yeah, Venus VK was his name. With so much excitement in the air, we have the Indianapolis 500 coming up in one more week. 7 more days, folks. 7 more days. After that, you will continue to hear me from the IndyCar side of things. But we'll get more to that as soon as the 500 is over. And so it was such a good race. It's such a good race year after year after year. But today, for some very odd reason, it was a chaotic day, to say the least. And it started earlier this morning. With, yesterday, Colton Herta crashing. But also, we had Scott McLaughlin get into a horrible accident today. And he could have, along with Will Power, made a chase for the pole position, but after the crash by Scott McLaughlin earlier this morning in the morning practice session, the afternoon was even more chaotic, as a part of the car for Penske Racing that they were running with both Will Power and Scott McLaughlin made it where the entire team had to eliminate their qualifying run for Bump Day. So they couldn't even compete for the Indy 500 pole position. And also Joseph Newgarden, last year's champion, was also involved in this operation, and he didn't actually end up racing today as well. So it was a bad day all around for Penske. It didn't mean that they didn't make it into the field. It just meant that the people that were involved around the Penske racing team were very crooked. I really want to know what happened. I really want to know what the heck caused today to happen, but I think it was kind of luck and moral for everybody because I think the Indy 500 doesn't need a lot of Penske's in the front from a fan perspective. And I'm just saying that it was really bad to see that form of cheating happen in the world of the Indy 500 today. And also, we really have to talk about, besides qualifying, they just ran the fast 6 laps of the Indy 500, and boy, oh boy, was that exciting. Like, Penske didn't even get in that either. The only driver that was technically in was Alex Palou, which I don't know that really big connection to that anymore, but I just mean, Palou should be racing for Penske, but he was the only one that could qualify out of everybody else, which is crazy. It's just nuts. And today was such a chaotic day in Indianapolis for Penske. They've had worse days. Remember, back in 1998, they had an even worse day when they couldn't even qualify for the race. So that was huge. In itself, the whole day was big for Penske. And you saw Joseph Newgarden playing around, running laps like he's running a marathon. And he didn't, like I said, he would never have competed for the pole. But for a champion to do that, I think there's something really undermining with that Penske team. They've wanted to pull out stops for many years, and this happens to be one of those years where I'm really getting more and more hesitant about who they are, and how Penske operates. Because they're like the Baffords in the Kentucky Derby, and then the Bill Belichick, Tom Brady's in the New England Patriots. They're just here to cheat, and many people don't understand that. But I don't know what specifically they were trying to clot into the vehicle to make it more fast, but it's wrong. It's completely wrong, and it really shouldn't be happening like that. Now, let's actually get into the bump day coverage before we actually get into anything else. But after the bump day was over, I will get into this. The Firestone Fast 6 happened. And guess who took the pole position? For the first time ever, Robert Schwartzman has become the first rookie to win the pole position since my grandfather attended the pole day back in 1983. So it's incredible. This rookie in the number 83 car was able to actually win the qualifying run and take the pole position. Second to him is Takuma Sato, and third to him is Pato O'Ward. All of which had times of Schwartzman at a time of 232.790 seconds. And then Takuma Sato had a time of 232.478 seconds. And then Pato O'Ward had a time of 232.0.98 miles an hour. I meant to say miles an hour, not seconds. So miles an hour. And then Scott Dixon went 232.052 miles an hour. And then there was Felix Rosenqvist, who was in 5th, and Alex Palou that was in 6th, wrapping up the field. What a run. What an amazing day for Robert Schwartzman. During the first half of this qualifying, he finished 2nd in the grid. Now he's up to 1st. This is huge. And for him to do it is incredible. Congratulations to Robert. This is huge. You can see the media was already swarming this guy because of just how big this is. It's huge for the racing world. Huge. So he's going to start in row 1 with what I mentioned, Takuma Sato and Pato O'Ward. In the second row of Scott Dixon, Felix Rosenqvist, and Alex Palou. Third will be David Malakis, Christian Lundgaard, and Marcus Ericsson. And then in the fourth row, we're going to have Scott McLaughlin, Joseph Newgarden, and Will Power. Fifth will be Connor Daly, Alexander Rossi, Kipton Simpson. Then in the sixth row, you'll have Ed Carpenter, Santino Ferrucci, and Delvin DiFrancesco. And then in the row 7, you'll have Stingray Robb, Christian Rasmussen, Kyle Larson. Row 8, Luis Foster, Callum Allott, and Helio Castroneves. Row 9, Kyle Kirkwood, Nolan Siegel, Ryan Hunter-Reay. And then in the last two rows, the 10th row being Jack Harvey, Colton Herta, and Graham Rahal. And then in row 11, you will have Marco Andretti, Marcus Armstrong, and Rinus VeeKay wrapping up the rows. So, it's huge to have a rookie come in here anyway and start really tearing things up. It's incredible, to say the least, that you have a really big contender out in this year's race. I don't know what's going on with the Penske team, but they were able to actually qualify in this race with Scott McLaughlin in the fourth row, along with Joseph Newgarden and Will Power. So those three drivers really had problems today. The chassis or something in the vehicle really messed a lot of things up. It was so historic. Just listen to this crowd reaction when he gets out of the vehicle. It's huge. Now listen, this is when Schwartzman gets out of his vehicle. The crowd absolutely loves it. A great moment for Schwartzman. Let's give him a round of applause as well. So yeah, that was like the big gist of today's bump day, was basically a lot of that, and then Penske Racing pulling off some stops, Schwartzman getting into his amazing pole run, which the first time that's happened since 1983, and it hasn't happened like that ever since. And it's awesome. It really is awesome to see a Cinderella story really come out of this bump day. Because I will tell you this, when we got later into, or early on into the bump day, especially when it came down to Rinus VeeKay and Jacob Abel, the rookie who also was racing in his first Indianapolis 500, to have him go out with a very slow lap around the laps 3 and 4 around the end. And actually, here's the broadcast of Schwartzman. I'll play that in a minute. But I will say, Abel didn't run well all month long. He didn't run well throughout the start of that race. He didn't run well during the qualifying run. I do kind of blame his team for part of the issue. And the car constantly had to be heated, and then overheated. And then eventually, once they did get the time up, it was kind of worthless as the gun sounded and everything. But right before they had the Firestone Fast 6 happen, which I had never heard of that before. I don't remember it happening last year. I thought before it was just always the pole position was determined later, but I think this might be one of the first few years that they've run this. I don't ever remember seeing this at the Indianapolis 500, trying to run for the pole position. But I will say that the ending of that bump day was awful. I thought it wasn't very good, but I will say that the battle for first was really nice, really out, especially during the fast 6 laps, to determine who was going to be in the pole position. It might be something Penske added recently, because I do not remember seeing this when I was watching the Indianapolis 500s as a kid. But Rinus VeeKay ran a decent lap. He needs more speed. And I am not going to lie. He is not a liar on that. He needs more speed. He needs more traction. He needs more fuel. He needs more tenacity to drive in those big lengths and really do a good job there. He didn't do any of that today. He didn't do any of that. And it's devastating to see that. But I will say the last two drivers that drove didn't do very well. And Marco Andretti, and alongside that, Marcus Armstrong, are in today. They're in the race. If it wasn't for those two qualifying laps, I really don't think, I feel bad for Abel. I really do. Or Abel. I really feel bad for him. Because he ran a decent car, just wasn't fast enough, wasn't good enough, and didn't really spot on into the pole position. But I will say that if you're running 33rd, you know you're slow. You know you're slow. But it was really bad both for him and for his racing team. Really bad Penske couldn't qualify today either. That was a real letdown for a lot of people. As I did mention earlier, something in their front of the car that basically controls the air and the fraction really didn't do a good job for them today, and they were cheating their way to victory, which is something I really do not like. Now, I did promise I was going to play the Robert Schwartzman winning the pole position. Here's how it sounded like on Fox Sports today.
It's the hardest qualifying he's done because
it's not one lap. You've got to think of it like a 16-corner lap as he crosses the line for the third time. A 2:31.5. The average is falling.
But Rosenqvist now is deploying the hybrid. He rounds turn 2 and asks himself, can the hybrid, can you take me to a higher top speed on the back straightaway?
Rosenqvist now with 2 corners to go to break the hearts and dreams of Prema Racing and Robert Schwartzman. I've got to be honest, I don't think it's there. I think this is going to be history. For the first time in 43 years, we're going to have a rookie on pole for the Indy 500. Rosenqvist across the line, and it's 5th. Robert Schwartzman is on pole as a rookie at the Indianapolis 500 for a team in its first ever season.
Such an exciting moment for that team. It's a huge moment for that team. As they mentioned, their first time ever making it to the Indianapolis 500, and they came out in style, in flair, and tenacity, and what a run for the rookie. That's an incredible underdog story, and that is what Bump Day is all about. That's what it's all about. You literally had a 16 seed beat a 1. You literally had the Detroit Pistons beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. You legitimately had Appalachian State beating Michigan. You legitimately had Akron beating Ohio State. I mean, it's incredible. You love to see that stuff. You really, really do. And I'm so happy for not just them, but for Prema Racing in their first ever appearance at the 500. Now, they have had a really interesting history over the years, especially given that the race team had they had won in Formula One, actually. They really had, Lawrence Stroll once owned the team at one point, which, of course, Prema Racing was founded in the same year, think about this, in the same year that the last Indianapolis 500 pole sitter placed in, 1983. That's very coincidental. And it was founded by Angelo Rossin and Giorgio Polacco. And Prema Racing established itself as a powerhouse in junior single seating. And of course, they were big into Ferrari and Red Bull's big racing ventures in Formula One, but they did expand their racing ventures to Fishers, Indiana just this year. And boy, they have a long history. This is all according to an article from Eric Smith that I dug up earlier. Prema has built strong relationships with global brands like Honda, Ferrari, and Red Bull. And its driver development program has produced top-tier talent, including Formula One world champion Jacques Villeneuve and IndyCar drivers Ryan Briscoe, Felix Rosenqvist, and Marcus Armstrong. With 80 championships to name, Prema is also the home to 9 2024 Formula One drivers, including Charles Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Esteban Ocon, and Pierre Gasly. The team continues to be a choice for Formula One driver development. And they had two cars running this year in Robert Schwartzman and Caleb Ballot. So isn't that incredible? A Formula One team, you have to remember though, with Fernando Alonso, they got eliminated. But this is the first year that they're running in the Indy 500. And boy, oh boy, is this fun. They were established this year. It's owned by Angelo Rosen, and it was headquartered in Fishers, Indiana. And they're also a Chevy sponsor as well. They are incredible. That team is incredible, especially in Formula One. I do remember seeing a lot of Formula One success, but I have never seen success from a Formula One driver in IndyCar in a very long time, since Juan Pablo Montoya did it several years ago in 2015, actually 10 years ago this year. So it's exciting. I am so happy for them. This is what dreams are all about. This is what Carb Day is all about. and I absolutely am here for it. So congratulations to Marcus Schwartzman, and congratulations to everybody that could make it into this year's Indianapolis 500-mile race. An incredible, incredible display. And I'm just saying, it's awesome, to say the least. But yeah, I will keep you guys updated with what we are doing, but I will tell you that we are going to have a live stream that's also going to be featured on Spotify as well, where we're going to basically play an IndyCar game. Let's see if I have it. So the IndyCar game that I have is called IndyCar Series. It's from all the way back in 2003. We do this every year for charity, but this year's is going to be a huge donation to One Bloomington, Indiana corporation or donation or charity. And we're going to donate to kids that desperately need it, and maybe the American Red Cross. We're still getting that figured out right now. But we're going to race basically this year. Last year I did 50 laps. This year we'll do 100. And then next year we will go for the big running of 200 laps. It's a charity event. Will be live streamed on Instagram. The link will be in the description once we get that going. And I will tell you that it will also be on YouTube as well. So be prepared for that. It's something we do every year. We love doing it. We love playing the IndyCar game. That was made all the way back in 2002 of all years. And it's fun to do. It's really exciting to do, but that might not happen until about probably Tuesday or Wednesday. Not really for sure. Might be even tomorrow. We're not for sure. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. Excuse me. And so, what a day. What a day it is for Indianapolis. And then, also, going into the 500, we'll post one more documentary, have one interview unless we can figure out another interview. It's a big podcast news coming at the end of the week. We're going to continue this podcast throughout the rest of the IndyCar season. I have determined that. That is huge for us. So this will not just be called the Indianapolis 500 podcast, the Borg Warner production. A name is going to be coming out soon. But today, congratulations to Marcus Schwartz, congratulations to Marcus Schwartz, Eric Schwartzman. Hold on one second. I had his name, Robert Schwartzman. There we go. Congratulations to Robert Schwartzman. You have done it. Robert Schwartzman. I'm not thinking with my words right now. I don't know why. But anyways, congratulations to Robert Schwartzman for winning the pole. Congratulations to all the drivers that made it into this year's Indianapolis 500. And we thank you all so much for continuing to listen to the Indianapolis 500 podcast, the Borg Warner production. And this will be live on theedge.com and on my YouTube channel, Braden985 FM. Thank you all so much for listening. Have a great night. And we can officially start our engines. We're 7 days away, folks. 7 days away from the greatest spectacle in racing. Have a great day, everyone. Enjoy this weather. It's beautiful if you're in Indiana. And start your engines. This race is coming soon. Have a good day, everyone, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye for now.